Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to say thank you to ICI for inviting me to this orientation program. I can feel the positive energy by watching this beautiful spectacle. You all have become chartered accountants. Congratulations. A huge round of applause for everyone who's coming on board the ICI family. What a proud moment this must be for you, your parents, friends, family. Congratulations. But this is just half the battle won. The real battle will be, now that you prefix CA against your name, how will you leverage this degree for the welfare of humanity? So make sure that now you have become chartered accountant. In one line, you understand what's the objective of your life. And that is economic prosperity for every household. एक लाइन में आपके जीवन का उद्देश्य है हर घर परिवार में आर्थिक संपन्नता. तो अगर आप विश्व में देखें, अभी भी बहुत से लोग रात को बिना भरपेट खाए सोने जाते हैं. तो आपके और हमारे रहते हुए क्या ये तस्वीर बदलनी चाहिए? Everybody should get basic fundamental needs, yes or no? तो रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान और भी जो बुनियादी ज़रूरतें हैं, ये सब उनको पहुंचानी है. तो उसके लिए पैसे कमाने भी बहुत ज़रूरी हैं, वेल्थ क्रिएट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Custodians of wealth creation is a chartered accountant. Like Praveen sir said, we are the economic soldiers who will ensure that in 15th of August 47 we got political independence. 75 years hence, what we need now is economic independence. And that is where youngsters will play such a big role. Now, the first big challenge that will come your way will be how do you handle the interview. So we've got about 40 minutes. I request Shalini ma'am, Nidhi ji, just to buzz us 5 minutes before we conclude, right? 5 minutes. And when they'll buzz us the last 5 minutes, I'll ask a very important question then, when we have last 5 minutes. Not that I'll not be asking important questions to begin with. So the first big challenge is, how do we handle the interview? Yes or no? So we are very lucky that today we've got 3 distinguished panelists. Let me introduce them to you. On my right, please, with a round of applause, welcome Dr. Yogesh Mishra. Dr. Yogesh, as was introduced by Nidhi, is the Vice President with a company that's called Thomas Assessment Private Limited. So the key word here is what? Assessment. The curiosity that will be occurring in your mind, what do his team assess? Now that's the real paradigm shift. When you go to the interview, they're actually going to assess your behavior. Psychometric competency. How many of us have never heard this word psychometric? Psychometric, we've not heard. Okay, good. So we've got the luxury of having Dr. Yogesh with us, who's got decades of experience in this field. We'll certainly ask you questions on that. On my left, please welcome Ms. Chanchal Singh. She's a seasoned human resource professional, nearly 2 decades of her life in HR across diverse sectors, and she has conducted hundreds and thousands of interviews. And to my extreme left, please welcome CA Jatin Tagra. Jatin qualified CA in May 2011, so it's been a good journey of 12 years. He did foray into industry for a year and a half before he moved to become a practicing chartered accountant, and one of his areas of specialization is GST. But another important angle to his personality is that he runs a podcast, and the name of that is Accountist. Just like artist, it's accountist, not dentist, okay? So the rules of the game, 40 minutes fly very fast, and I know very soon Nidhi will show us last 5 minutes. So I'll ask brief questions. My request to the panelists, brief answers. And as you hear them, I'm sure you'll have a lot of curiosities coming to your mind. I request you to be a good listener. But if you have a very compelling question, then I would request you to come either on the right side or the left side, come and stand here. Time permitting, I'll come down to take your questions as well, okay? So anyone who's got any compelling question, you can come and stand here and just wait for your turn. Let me begin by asking all 3 the first question, and Chanchal, you can start answering first. Now see, when we start the interview, the most important aspect is how you handle the opening question. Clearly, when we go there, everybody will be nervous. Perfectly normal, because we are human beings. We will be jittery. So handling the first question becomes very important. It's almost like a takeoff for the aircraft. Now, all these years, the opening interview question has been very usual. Which one? tell me something about yourself. Sounds so boring. We are in Happy New Year 2024, India traveling through the era of innovation. So my first question to all panelists is, in this new year 2024, what is it that the newly qualified chartered accountants could be asked, an innovative opening question in an interview?
So it could be as simple, and it could give a lot of information to the interviewers that how was your morning today, or what brings you here, why are you here, you know, and these could be the bouncing questions to you in the beginning.
Okay, so how was your morning, and why are you here? Okay.
And what brings you here, and what do you expect today to happen?
So if somebody asks you, why are you here? What will you say? You called me? We'll come to the answers as well, but at least note these questions can come so that you're not rattled. So what could be an innovative opening question?
Yeah. So couple of things. When you go as a chartered accountant, it's a professional degree. So the questions will be different from what you will ask a fresher who is, say, coming from software engineer, because they expect you to work unsupervised, and they say if a CA has done the work, then it certifies completion. So they can ask you, I am a CA, everybody is a CA. What is that extra X factor that you bring over and above your CA degree, which will make us hire you?
Okay, so they're asking you that X factor. So make sure that you've thought through your X factor. That's why every interview is customized. You can't really compare and copy. So what's your USP? Jatin, what could be an innovative opening question?
So I think it's a silent question that is your outlook. How you are looking, कैसे आपने कपड़े पहने हैं और आप कैसे well groomed होके आए हैं. See, मेरे को जब मैं देखता हूँ ना तो मेरे को अपनी इंस्टीट्यूशन की इमेज सामने वाले कैंडिडेट में अगर दिख रही है तो मेरा सिलेक्शन उसी टाइम हो जाता है उस कैंडिडेट को लेकर.
Okay, that's very profound. Make sure that you dress up to the position you're applying for. So raise that bar in terms of the way your personality speaks. Now, let's also get the answers. If they ask you, why are you here? Any tips how best we can structure the answer?
So what do you think you're going to answer? Why are you here? So I'm here because I want to be in your position after a couple of years. Could be a beautiful way of expressing your aspirations and your inspirations.
Okay, and to your question, sometimes they could also articulate in this manner that you've already given them the CV. They already have your CV. But they can ask you the first question, okay, tell me something about yourself which is not there in the CV. How do you respond to a question like this?
So basically what they are doing is, it's an open-ended question. So there are two types of question, open-ended question. And fortunately, then the ball is in your court. And what you need to do is, you need to think of something unique, something different, which will lead the interview into your areas of strength. Like suppose, it's a very simple thing, you are selling yourself. So you need to look at what is that unique selling proposition, something आपके अंदर वो क्या ऐसी अलग चीज है जो आपको लोगों से अलग और बेहतर बनाती है.
But Dr. Yokesh, in first place, wouldn't the candidate write that as part of resume itself?
No, normally people don't. Okay. So because other thing is, a lot of times people give a straight jacketed thing wherein they will say, this is my name, this is my career objective, and career objectives are also standard copy pasted. And if all the CAs come in, they will say, I am a chartered accountant, maybe I've done my graduation from SRCC, first attempt chartered accountant, this is where I've done my internship. And they will write a couple of things. My hobbies are listening to music, you know, traveling, something like those, which are not something which will really differentiate yourself. आप ये सोचें, मेरे को वो नौकरी क्यों देंगे? उससे अच्छा ये सोचे, मैं इनके यहाँ पे क्या ऐसा अलग कर सकता हूँ जो कोई और नहीं करे. And that has to come through your life experience. हम सबकी लाइफ बहुत यूनिक होती है, हमारे को बस वो नजरिया बदलना होता है. And एक अच्छा स्टोरी टेलर बनना पड़ता है.
Okay, so good. I hope you're noting it down. These could be the opening questions. Make sure that you're a good storyteller. Chanchal, how about an innovative opening question? And pardon me if it sounds rude, you never know, this could be asked. You went with all the preparations, you just sat, and the interviewer asked you, tell me 3 reasons why we should not hire you.
Wow. Have you guys already thought of the answers? Yeah? Possibly one could be, you should not hire me if I am overqualified, if I have better values and you think that I am better fit. If you think the other candidates are not matching up to me,
Wow.
you know, they are kind of average and I will be exceptional or I will be in the top 10% and you want to hire masses, don't hire me. If you want to, if you want to hire a person who will stay in this position for years, don't hire me because I have inspirations and aspirations and great ambitions. So these could be some of the answers that you could.
Excellent. When I asked you this question, how many of you were little confused how to answer this? And now that you've listened to Chanchalji, you're feeling a little better. See, this interview also, we haven't planned much. So these questions are coming to them for the first time and see how they take a second or two, gather their thoughts, and drawing upon their experience, they're answering. So they can ask you any innovative question, be prepared for it. Let's in the next round ask a little bit about the domain specialization of each of the three speakers, beginning with Jatin. Now Jatin, since you are a chartered accountant specializing in GST, my first question to you in terms of a domain specialization, these are newly qualified chartered accountants, 2024 forward-looking approach. What are the new emerging opportunities where you feel their services will be required?
अमित, मैं इसका जवाब ना आपको ना वर्ल्ड की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी के रूप में बताना चाहूँगा कि हम जो जाने वाले हैं नेक्स्ट लेवल में जाने वाले हैं पूरे विश्व में तीसरे नंबर पर या दूसरे नंबर पर भी आ जाएंगे with the help of these young and dynamic chartered accountants. See, आने वाली एज ऑटोमेशन की तरफ जा रही है, रिटर्न फाइलिंग जैसे मैं जीएसटी कह रहा हूँ, ये वाली चीज़ें बहुत कम हो जाएंगी. अगर अभी भी देखेंगे तो देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स विच इज अगेन ऑटोमेटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. जब आप एक विकसित देश की तरफ जाएंगे ना, दो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है, मैं आपको पहले डिस्क्लेमर दे रहा हूँ, इन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के पास छुट्टियां नहीं होंगी, ये छुट्टी बनाने नहीं जा सकेंगे. ये मेरे वर्ड्स आप मार्क कर लो.
अगर आप मार्क कर रहे हैं, हो सकता है ये वर्ड्स मार्क करके आपकी मानसिक सेहत पर असर पड़ रहा हो. हम साइकोमेट्रिक टेस्ट के बारे में आते हैं. सर, हाउ डू यू असेस द साइकोमेट्रिक? बिकॉज ब्रेक तो चाहिए, छुट्टियां तो सबको चाहिए. साइकोमेट्रिक असेसमेंट में क्या करते हैं?
देखिए, साइकोमेट्रिक लोग साइको मतलब वाला साइको वाला नहीं साइको होता है. साइकोमेट्रिक कम्स फ्रॉम साइकोलॉजी, मानसिकता, एंड मेट्रिक्स इज मेजरमेंट. तो हम मानसिकता मेजर करते हैं. सो हम क्या देखते हैं साइकोमेट्रिक्स में? तीन चीजें देखते हैं, एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई टीच पीपल नॉर्मली. तो आप उसको हम रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं. आपको तीन चीजें देखनी है जब आप जाते हैं, जो हम पूछते हैं. क्या कैन द पर्सन डू द जॉब? क्या आप उल्टा देखें, क्या जो ये काम मेरे से करवाना चाहते हैं, क्या मैं वो काम कर सकता हूं? जिसमें आपका सीए की डिग्री जो आपने सीखा है, आपकी नॉलेज काफी यूजफुल रहती है. दूसरा, विल द पर्सन डू द जॉब. हम तीन चीजें ये देखते हैं साइकोमेट्रिक में. पहला, कैन द पर्सन डू द जॉब? क्या वो आदमी ये काम कर सकता है? वो आपकी सीए की डिग्री है, मतलब यू आर क्वालिफाइड. सेकंड है, विल द पर्सन डू द जॉब? भाई आता तो सबको है, काम करने की इच्छा नहीं होती. अगर किसी को 30 दिन काम करना है, 365 दिन काम करना है, और ये हमारा काम है, रिटर्न्स फाइल करते हैं तो फाइल करते हैं. विल द पर्सन डू द जॉब? तो आपको ये दिखाना होगा कि कैसे आप मोटिवेटेड रहेंगे काम करने के लिए. और तीसरा आपको जो देखना होता है वो ये होता है फिटमेंट. क्या ये आदमी हमारी कंपनी, हमारे कल्चर, सैलरी तो एक स्मॉल पार्ट होता है, मतलब वो तो सबसे बड़ा ऑब्वियस होता है. सैलरी, लोकेशन, ये हार्ड पार्ट्स होते हैं. बट क्या ये हमारी कंपनी, क्या ये हमारे कल्चर, विल द पर्सन बी एबल टू एसिमुलेट एंड वर्क विद अस in form of a team.
Okay.
तो ये चीजें देखते हैं.
So the three things, and I hope you're noting it down. One, is the candidate competent? Competency. Second, motivation. कि काम तो कर सकता है लेकिन काम करना चाहता है. और तीसरा, fitment. Fitment as in suitability. Now, in his response, Dr. Yogesh did mention about the salary part. That's not the one only criteria for fitment. So let me do an audience poll, and Chanchalji, put into perspective the results that you see in front of your eyes. Just raise hand. So my question is, when you apply for a job now, what would you prefer? One, role that you're being offered in terms of fitment. Two, you'd prefer money. For those who would give preference to the role that you're being offered, please raise your hand. Okay, it looks like majority. Hands down, please. Thank you. Those who would prefer money first.
I think rest are lying. Yeah. So you definitely are looking for money, and let's understand we are talking about the third largest economy. Yeah, we are talking about selling our skills. We are talking about getting a job for running our households. It's a hard reality. You guys are not accepting it. I was expecting that you'll be honest and you'll say money matters. And it does matter, and we see that during the interview process. You get an offer, and there are cases where a person gets an offer, and he bargains, he uses that offer to get a counter offer. And there are many a times now when they come back and again negotiate, yeah? But there are three things that I want to tell you. In the 3 E's, which is experience, exposure, and education, you guys have a world-class education already. It's proven that you're technically sound. What matters now is experience and the exposure. Don't bargain it only for money. Yeah, get the money, money will follow. It will happen. But experience and the exposure is of paramount importance. We can only guide you, yeah, but we also know when you see the money amount, then 50,000 maybe man badal jata hai.
Okay, so mark those 3 E's. Education, so you already have professional education of chartered accountancy, experience and exposure. So the word coming in from Chanchalji as the HR specialist is that if you had to prefer role. So it was heartening to see that almost 90% raised hands for that. Purely your individual choice, but at the start of your career, laying more emphasis on the role and the kind of work you are exposed to perhaps is a far better leverage than getting more money at the outset. Now, if you have to get money...
I just want to add one thing with the experience part. So again, इसके लिए phrase है, cricketer की जवानी और CA का बुढ़ापा एक जैसा होता है.
But coming to that money part, one common question we always want to know, how do we negotiate our salary? So if the interviewer does ask, what's your expectation? How do I respond?
See, like industry के standard set है already. तो जो आपका minimum जो salary वो offer कर रहे हैं, ये तो newly qualified के लिए तो already जो package given है, वो उसी के अंदर रहेंगे. But लेकिन अगर आपका interview अच्छा गया है, तो HR negotiate कर सकते हैं, right? तो आपको पहले से ही पता होता है कौन सी इंडस्ट्री कितना पैकेज ऑफर करके चल रही है, कौन सी कंपनी कितना पैकेज बताकर चल रही है. तो उसमें नेगोशिएशन का पार्ट मेरे हिसाब से थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है.
Negotiation is also psychology. As the interviewer, I would like to get the best talent, but for the budgeted cost. And as an interviewee, how do I respond? So that's also psychology, salary negotiation.
See, every negotiation, be it for salary, be it for property, there is a buyer, there is a seller, there is somebody who's offering, there is somebody. So basically, what is it that we finally look at? We look at value. Value देखते हैं ना हम लोग. पैसा, money is one parameter of value. So when you are negotiating, एक मैं E और add करना चाहता हूँ चंचल के, जो आपको ध्यान रखना चाहिए, exploitation. वो fortunately Institute of Chartered Accountant की वजह से अब नहीं होता है, because there are certain base norms that are set and आज की डेट में information asymmetry नहीं है. मतलब सबको पता है कि किसको कितनी सैलरी मिल रही है. उसमें आपको ये देखना है, is there something extra that you have done? आपकी internships में do you have some extra certifications that you have? Then you can ask. But again, other thing is you can ask for anything. But you need to be clear, will the market support that price? ये बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. But again, yes, ये मत बोलिए, सर मेरी expectation तो, एक मैं आपको बोलता हूँ, बहुत पुरानी हिंदी मूवी है गोलमाल, बहुत पुरानी मूवी है, 80 में आई थी, उत्पल दत्त और अमोल पालेकर की. उसमें एक्चुअली इंटरव्यू फेक कैसे करते हैं वो था, सर मैं तो गरीब आदमी हूँ. इनफैक्ट उसमें भी अमोल पालेकर एक चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट था, ठीक है. वो कहता है सर मैं तो गरीब आदमी हूँ, मैं तो 850 क्या 550 के भी योग्य नहीं हूँ. वो कहता है लुक सन डोंट टेल मी. ये ऐसा होता नहीं है. सो व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज डोंट अंडरसेल योरसेल्फ, बट अगेन इतना भी ज्यादा मत मांगे कि सामने वाला कहे भैया यू मस्ट बी जोकिंग.
ओके, गुड पॉइंट.
बी रियलिस्टिक.
तो क्या गोलमाल करना चाहिए? मेरा सीवी में अगर कोई मैंने बात लिखी है जो कि सच नहीं है, या मुझसे कुछ पूछा गया, कई बार मैं थोड़ा उसको ड्रेसअप भी करता हूँ, गोलमाल करना चाहिए या फिर क्योंकि एथिक्स इंटेग्रिटी सो क्रिटिकल टू सीए प्रोफेशन, जैसी आपकी कहानी है वो बताइए, भले आपको नौकरी मिले ना मिले.
इसका आंसर हमें पता है, हमारा दिल हमें बता देता है कि honesty definitely, and this is Yogesh's favorite line, honesty definitely pays in the longer run. It definitely pays. If you put your correct skills on the table, if you say this is what I know, and this is the time, the next 10 years you'll be learning a whole lot. So it's okay to say this is what I have done, this is what I know, and this is what I don't know, but I am groomable. We hire for, what do the companies are also are hiring for? A will to learn. A will to learn. That is better, that is more valued today than skill given. Given that everyone has a similar skill, we also hire for the will to be able to learn on the job. So present yourself the way you are. झूठ करते 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 कहीं ना कहीं आप पकड़े ही जाएंगे. Because योगेश जैसे experts सबको बता रहे हैं कि interview आप कैसे करेंगे, you know, the interviewing skills पे, techniques पे पूरी training होती है panel की. So panel is trained to catch that. और कैसे best निकालना है.
How do you do that? If whether a candidate is expressing truth or there's an element of lie, how do you catch in that psychometric assessment?
See, so there are two parts. One is psychometrics. So psychometric is not lie detector test. So pehli baat hai. So there, and in fact, there's something that I want to add to what Chanchal is saying. Never ever fudge on facts in your CV. Window dressing mat kijiye. Because in the long run, it's still a small community. Aapki finance ki community, you will have the next session of CFOs. Word spreads around. And there is nothing more valuable than your reputation. याद रखिए इस चीज को. अगर इमेजिन करो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की अगर रेपुटेशन खराब हो गई कि भाई ये तो फैक्ट्स फज करता है और पकड़ा गया है, कुछ नहीं रह जाएगा. सो नेवर एवर फज ऑन फैक्ट्स. देयर आर इनफ असेसमेंट्स दैट आर अवेलेबल. फैक्ट चेक पीछे पूरा हो जाता है. या एंड इंटरव्यू में व्हेन वी लुक एट इट, वी आस्क समथिंग कॉल्ड एज प्रोबिंग क्वेश्चंस. आप एक सवाल देंगे, दो सवाल देंगे, एक वाई टेक्निक्स होती हैं. तो सामने वाले को भी पता है, वो आपसे अभी पूछेगा, घुमा के एक और सवाल पूछेगा. एंड सामने वाला भी आप ही के प्रोफेशन से आया है ना, वो भी उस जगह पे बैठा हुआ है. तो एक ये चीज़ है, अगर आपको नहीं आता है तो आप बोल दीजिए नहीं आता, बट पुट इट इन अ वे. तो इनका सवाल था ना कि सो दैट यू शो इट एज अ स्ट्रेंथ. यू कैन से सर आई एम नॉट certified on this particular thing, पर I have been exposed to ये चीजें. Given an opportunity, मैं इतने दिनों में ये सीख सकता हूँ. Rather than saying a black or white, आता है नहीं आता, या बिल्कुल ही झूठ, I am qualified, क्योंकि वो तो चीज फैक्ट चेकिंग में हो जाएगी. ठीक है?
Okay, good. So that's a very important point. Don't do window dressing. Don't fudge any data. Present your personality the way you are, and that will ensure that fitment happens. Now, making a personal brand is very necessary. It is not just about the first job. We are here in this profession to serve for long, whether as a job, as an entrepreneur, in whichever capacity. And therefore, to build a personal brand, Jatin, social media presence is also very essential. Now, these days, we see the youngsters having so many handles on social media, presence on sites like LinkedIn. As somebody who runs a podcast, what's your advice? How do we build our social media presence?
See, for professionals, we must have our LinkedIn account. And LinkedIn के ऊपर भी अगर आप सिर्फ अकाउंट बना के छोड़ रहे हो ना, तो that is not good. आपको उसमें जो आपकी नॉलेज है ना, अगर आपको एक वीडियो क्रिएट करने आती है, you have to show your video, you have to shoot a video and post on it, and you also use the hashtags. Plus, जो आपको updates आ रही हैं, you can also put updates. And again, आपको उनको reach करना है who are the industry leaders, right? And just like target some companies in which you want to do work, उनके human resource, talent acquisition, उनसे link आपको connection establish करना है. And then जब आप post करेंगे regular, तो उन्हें भी पता चलेगा this person have some extraordinary expressional skills as well. तो आप जितना अच्छी अपनी presence बना पाएंगे, जितनी अच्छी knowledge को आप वहाँ पर spread कर पाएंगे, I'm sure कि आपको लोग notice करेंगे ही करेंगे.
Okay. Now see, interview process all these years has had some fundamental things. One, like Chanchal said, honesty, integrity was important, is important, will always be important. But as somebody who started out your HR professional career in 2004, as you see the interview landscape, and we are here in 2024, how has the interview process evolved?
So interestingly, interestingly, the basics, the format would always remain the same, and it has always been, you know. So they would be checking on your personal profile, your educational background, the technical expertise, and of course the culture, the value fitment, yeah, it remains the same. That's what I was discussing today morning, that it remains the same. But what has really changed is the way this data is being gathered today with the help of various assessment tools, yeah. So each and every most of the organizations today, the progressive ones definitely are using a lot of assessment tools earlier in the recruitment process itself. By the time you land up in the interview, you know, you have already made it to 60% of the process. Yeah, now you're in the final lag, the last lag. So in the last lag, what you will be absolutely checked upon will be your culture and your value fitment. Apart from, of course, whether your willingness to do the role, willingness to learn on the job, and your expectations, you know, not that they are going to offer what you're expecting, but of course, checking on what you want. But the culture and the value fitment continues. All these angles continue to be there. Along with your resume, there are sheets with the panel which contains assessments, the reports of how you have fared on your behavioral assessment, on the technical competencies and other stuff.
And one of the important behavioral value we all can inculcate is having a good sense of humor. Do you think a good sense of humor helps a candidate? Where can we bring sense of humor in an interview?
Yeah. So I personally prefer sense of humor. I like candidates who have a sense of humor because you don't want people who are morose, मतलब मरे हुए इंसान से बात करके कुछ मजा नहीं आता. I'll tell you what sense of humor tells the interviewer. Sense of humor क्या है? Humor is a different way of looking at the same situation. यही तो चीज़ है, नजरिया है देखने का. It tells the interviewer that you have a point of view, you can think differently. But humor subtle होना चाहिए. व्यंग, हास्य और व्यंग में फर्क हो जाता है. Sarcasm and humor, they are two very different things. So number one, use humor, but never deprecate anybody. किसी के ऊपर मजाक नहीं बनाना चाहिए. सबसे पहले उस सिचुएशन में कुछ अलग देखना चाहिए.
So let me present a situation so that we have practical examples. Imagine you were called for the interview at 10 in the morning. You were a very good candidate, you reached at 9:30. They made you wait for 2 hours. At noon you get your call and he asks you, sorry I kept you waiting for 2 hours. How should I respond?
So, you know, so there are, let's look at it, there are two ways. A standard way would be, no problem sir, मैं तो नौकरी के लिए ही आया हूँ. जब तक मिलेगी नहीं तब तक कुछ नहीं कर सकता. That's one way of looking. Other way of looking at it, yeah, I expected more professionalism. ठीक है? Or I expected you to be more professional. तो मतलब सीधा पत्ता कट गया. ठीक है? Practical होना चाहिए ना. The third way of looking at it would be that, yes sir, but there is a saying that इंतजार का सब्र का फल मीठा होता है. So what you do is उसी को घुमा दीजिए sir.
Very nice. I quite like the last one. इंतजार का फल मीठा होता है. So make sure that you're prepared for it. Let's reverse the situation, Jatin. What if you were supposed to reach at 10? It was a foggy morning. The alarm didn't, come off. You reached at 10:30. And the first question interview asks you, why are you late? How do I respond?
I have to be honest in this situation.
That's how I am. That's how I am. Why are you late? That's how I am. Certainly no. Okay?
So in this particular situation, if you are going to elaborate that you are having that kind of like problems, like just because of this reason you are being late. So again, giving so many other reasons, you have to be honest and you have to share the exact reason why exactly you are late.
Yes.
So like by this, आपको चार झूठ और नहीं बोलने पड़ेंगे.
So can I be honest? Because honesty is the best policy. Can I say I woke up late? What should I say? Because that old reason, I got caught in traffic, sounds so boring.
Can I just take the liberty of telling you a short story? एक ज्ञानी बाबा थे, उनको पता होता था कि किसी वुमन जो प्रेग्नेंट लेडी है उनको बेटा होने वाला है या बेटी. सो वो चिट पे लिख के दे देते थे. एक लेडी को जब बेबी हुआ तो वो गई ज्ञानी बाबा के पास कि बाबा आपने तो जो बोला था वो बिल्कुल ठीक था, चिट पे जो लिखा था बिल्कुल ठीक था. तो चिट जब खोला गया तो उस पर लिखा था ना बेटा ना बेटी, ना बेटा बेटी, ना बेटी बेटा. So the way you interpret it, ना बेटा ना बेटी, वो दोनों सब बातें उन्होंने लिख दी. So आपको कहना भी है और नहीं भी कहना है. I woke up late, sorry, you know, but you don't have to say everything, but you have to say I apologize. It doesn't regularly happen with me, just one off day, today something. मतलब आपको कहना भी और नहीं भी कहना है. It doesn't take away the honesty from you.
In fact, I'll add to it. So now this can happen at a time of interview when you are going for client presentations, etc. एक ज़माने में दिक्कत होती थी when we all started because at that time communication means were not there, माध्यम नहीं होते थे. Nowadays, if you really want to, so first of all, let's understand that all of us have Google Maps, estimated time होता है, but for whatever reason, suppose your train got delayed, accident हो गया, कुछ भी हो सकता है, आपके पास coordinator का number होता है normally. And please remember, in fact, that's one of the things what you should do is, in case you are running late, it is always better to inform them the moment you come to know that you are getting late. Inform them pehle se. That will show you are professional. You took the pains of informing them. You value their time. देखिए लेट तो आप हो ही रहे हैं, यू कांट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट ना. अगर आप ट्रैफिक जैम में फंसे हैं, आप गुड़गांव से यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, ट्रैफिक जैम में फंसे हैं तो आप फंसे हैं, यू कांट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. बट द लीस्ट दैट यू कैन डू इज इन्फॉर्म देम एंड रिक्वेस्ट देम that sir, my interview was scheduled for 10:30. If it is possible, I will be delayed because of this reason. And आपने पहले ही बता दिया 9:30 बजे. Will it be possible if you can maybe move it slightly towards the end? And when you walk in, say, sir, I like to thank you for understanding and rescheduling my interview. So that's the first thing. Wow. You are accept rather than saying sorry, मैं late हो गया. You say, I'd like to thank you for understanding and accepting my request. Wow. And it happened because of this particular reason. याद रखिए, ट्रांसपेरेंसी जरूरी होती है. हमारे यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं यार बाद में बता दूंगा. अपना टाइम भी बर्बाद किया, उसका भी टाइम समय व्यर्थ किया आपने.
Wow,
so brilliant. If you do that, being professional, that's very important.
Brilliant. I think this was very, very profound, this round, where we learned that value of transparency is so important. So Jatin, communication is very important. I am already running late. Some situation of life has happened. That's why it's life. The beautiful twists and turns it comes up with. So communication skills, is that one very important criteria?
Yes. See, if you are not able to express yourself, then again, you are going to become the representative of that organization. And if you are not able to speak, then how that organization is going to hire you? Right. So again, see, I also belongs to a very small town, Muzaffarnagar. And again, communication is very biggest, like what I can say, hurdle for us. And you cannot become very proficient in communication in English, specifically in English. And this comes after so many years of practice. So if like this is kind of my kind of interview technique to all of you guys. See, मेरा ना एक US का client था, मुझे उससे मिलने जाना था. और आप देखोगे जब भी ये US वाले लोग बात करते हैं ना, वो आधे वर्ड खा जाते हैं. तो मैंने ना सूट्स एक सीरीज है, अगेन इट्स अवेलेबल ऑन नेटफ्लिक्स ऑन प्राइम. मैंने उसका पूरा सीजन देखा सो दैट मैं उस सामने जो वो बोल रहे हैं ना उसकी लैंग्वेज को समझ सकूं. सो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ टेक्निक दैट यू कैन डेवलप फॉर योरसेल्फ एंड यू कैन अपेयर फॉर द इंटरव्यू. एंड अगेन, जब तक क्वेश्चन सुनोगे नहीं ना उसने क्या बोला है, जवाब कैसे दोगे?
राइट. सो दैट्स अ वेरी प्रोफाउंड थॉट. लेट द इंटरव्यूअर फिनिश हिज क्वेश्चन. लेट देयर बी अ सेकंड और टू पॉज. एब्जॉर्ब इट. नो हरी. Don't react, respond. And communication is very important. Communication happened with words, and Nidhi is communicating just last 5 minutes left. And I told you, when only 5 minutes will be left, I'll ask a very important question. Did I tell you that? Would you want me to ask that important question? Now, the important question is to all my panelists. See, we're all gathered here. ICI leadership has been so kind that we're organizing forums like these where distinguished speakers like yourself are coming and sharing their thoughts. And the objective is that I crack the interview. But notwithstanding, no matter how I prepare, I could not crack the interview. It may happen I may not make it. How do I respond? How do I accept?
So if you have not made it through, do you have an alternative? Yes, many. First, it starts with the acceptance that it has not happened. And your own reflection. You know, take the time to reflect what possibly may not have gone right, yeah, or possibly what you can improve, yeah, and look forward to the next opportunity. See, failure हम दिमाग में बैठा लेते हैं कि ये हम fail कर गए, you know. We stamp our mind with that, and we have to reprogram it. We have to say, no, it was not, I was not meant for it, it did not happen, God has a better plan for it, and I need to know that God has a plan for it. So let me start preparing for the next round.
Okay. How do I handle rejection, failure, whichever way you want to call it?
Yeah. So the thing is, somebody not selecting you is not a failure. It is not a rejection. Let's look at it. Suppose there is a buffet. There would be a buffet at lunch. And I'm saying, and if there is chole bhature, there is dosa, there is idli. Now you like North Indian. तो क्या डोसा इडली रिजेक्टेड फील करेगा, हाय मेरे को नहीं खाया, आपको लगेगा, एंड आई एम यूजिंग अ बिट ऑफ ह्यूमर राइट नो, दिस इज ह्यूमर, सो दे विल नॉट, देयर आर डिफरेंट चॉइसेस, देयर आर डिफरेंट रीजंस. अगर मेरे को एक ब्रांड पसंद है तो वो मेरी लाइकिंग है, तो कंपनी ने अगर आपको नहीं सेलेक्ट किया, हो सकता है उनकी अलग रिक्वायरमेंट्स होंगी. बट जो चंचल ने बोला सबसे पहले, नंबर वन, इट इज़ नॉट अ फेलियर, इट इज़ नॉट अ रिजेक्शन. आई नो पीयर प्रेशर रहता है, घर में होता है, एक्सपेक्टेशन होती है, बेटा सीए बन गया, 12 लाख की 15 लाख की नौकरी लगेगी, मतलब इट्सेट्रा, एंड नॉट एवरीबडी कम्स फ्रॉम वेल ऑफ फैमिलीज, होता है नो, लोगों को होता है, तो ये भी लगता है भाई जल्दी से जल्दी मेरे को पैसा कमाऊं, पर मौके आते हैं. आप सबसे पहले सेल्फ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कीजिए, ऐसी क्या चीज़ें हैं जो मैंने सही की थी, उनको और क्या अलग लग सकता है. एक विक्टिम फीलिंग मत लाइए. विक्टिम फीलिंग ऐसे होती है, मैं तो छोटी जगह से आता हूँ, आई डोंट नो हाउ टू स्पीक इन इंग्लिश, आई डू नॉट हैव bespoke कस्टम टेलर्ड सूट्स, ये सब में विक्टिम जैसे आप बनते हैं, मतलब आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है. आप ये सोचिए, मैं आगे क्या कर सकता हूँ, मैं अपने आप को और बेहतर कैसे बना सकता हूँ कि यही लोग 2 साल 3 साल बाद मेरे को सेलेक्ट करें. सो नॉट गेटिंग सेलेक्टेड इज नॉट फेलियर, इज नॉट रिजेक्शन.
बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कि विक्टिम की मानसिकता मत रखिएगा, और बहुत से विकल्प आपको जीवन देगा. क्या आप उससे सीख सकते हैं? और एक ऐसा ही जीवंत उदाहरण हमारे साथ हैं सीए जतिन टागरा. जब इन्होंने मई 2011 में सीए क्वालिफाई किया और इंटरव्यू देने गए, तो कुछ हर्डल्स फेस करके फिर इन्होंने इंटरव्यू क्रैक किया. बताइए.
मेरा एक दोस्त बोलता है कि बिग 4 के बारे में आपको पता होगा, उसने कहा मैंने सब बिग 4 के अंदर काम कर रखा है. मैं बोलता हूँ मैं सारे बिग 4 से रिजेक्टेड हूँ. मेरे को इनिशियल में किसी ने सेलेक्ट ही नहीं करा. मैं इंटरव्यू जाता था, इंटरव्यू में फेल हो जाता था. पहला एचआर राउंड फेल हुआ, एचआर के फिर एक और राउंड फेल हुआ, फिर तीसरे एचआर को पास करा, फिर टेक्निकल में नहीं हुआ. बट अच्छा हुआ कि मैं वहाँ से फेल हुआ, फिर मैं एयरसेल में सेलेक्ट हो गया. कंपनी का नाम वैसे नहीं लेना चाहिए. देन आई गॉट सेलेक्टेड. तो मैंने देखा कि मैं क्या गलत कर रहा हूँ, तो मैंने वहाँ से सीखा कि क्या क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. मतलब लिटरली जो मेरी लास्ट जिसमें मेरा सिलेक्शन हुआ, एचआर में बहुत आपको अच्छा मानता हूँ, उन्होंने मुझे पानी पिलाया. कहते कोई बात, तब भी
एचआर निर्दयी नहीं होते,
बहुत अच्छे होते हैं,
बहुत अच्छे होते हैं.
हाँ बहुत. एचआर उन्होंने कहा आप आराम से बैठो, पानी पियो, देन उसके बाद बात करो. फिर मैंने कहा मेरा ज़्यादा मम्मा होना शुरू हो गया. तो बट फिर उन्हें टेक्निकल में थोड़ा अच्छा लगा, देन सिलेक्शन हुआ. तो फेलियर जब है ना, फेलियर से मैं जितना ज़्यादा सीखता हूँ ना, मतलब आई कैन गिव यू सो मेनी एग्जाम्पल. मेरे एक फ्रेंड है, 3 कंपनियों में रिजेक्ट हुए, लेकिन चौथी कंपनी में जिसमें वो चाहते थे उसमें सेलेक्ट हो गए. क्वेश्चंस की लिस्ट बनाता है वो, जब भी रिजेक्ट होता है ये क्वेश्चन था, फिर उसको प्रिपेयर करता है कि मैं इसको नेक्स्ट टाइम जब मेरे से आएगा ना वही क्वेश्चन है. और हाँ, वन बिगेस्ट सीक्रेट, सेम इंडस्ट्री में सेम क्वेश्चन ही मिलेंगे. आप जिसमें रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं, अगर मतलब अगेन टेक्निक, लेट से मुझे ए कंपनी में जाना है, पहले बीएनसी के अंदर इंटरव्यू दो, ए कंपनी में वही इंटरव्यू आएंगे जो बीएनसी वाले होंगे आपके पास.
Okay. Final round. One tip that you would like to share based upon your experience, as all these youngsters are all set to appear for the interviews. One tip as we conclude.
2 दे देता हूँ.
Okay.
पहली चीज है, उससे पिछले दिन अच्छे से सो. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. गेट अ गुड नाइट स्लीप बहुत जरूरी होती है. सवेरे फ्रेश होना, जल्दी सोओगे, जल्दी उठोगे, जल्दी घर से निकलोगे, समय पे पहुंचोगे, टेंशन नहीं होगी. ये सबसे पहली बात है, नंबर 1. And second is be yourself. Be yourself का सबसे प्रैक्टिस करने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका है, when I was young, my father used to say, शीशे के सामने खड़े होकर प्रैक्टिस करो. आजकल आप लोगों के पास ये मोबाइल फोन है, ठीक है? सो बी योर सेल्फ के लिए इंटरव्यू में बी योर सेल्फ, बट बी योर सेल्फ के लिए ये मोबाइल फोन पहले सामने रखो, घर पे बैठ के कैसे बोलते हो, कैसे जवाब देते हो, उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग करो, तो फिर किसी के सामने बैठना आराम से नेचुरली आ जाएगा.
Okay, fantastic. So one, of course, make sure that you sleep well, right? Good sleep, that's the best makeup. And second, what was the second one? Be yourself. And Jatin, your tip, you were saying sometimes we think big before the interview, but we have to stick to basics.
Yes, sir. Basics are like, see, this is kind of like technical thing, which everyone has to prepare. Can I ask any question to the audience?
Yes,
Do we have time?
We've got 30 seconds left.
Okay, 30 seconds left. Can anybody tell me the definition of accounting? Any one of you? With all 10 keywords.
Definition of accounting.
With all 10 keywords. Ask yourself. Anyone? Raise your hand.
Yes.
Accounting is like preparation of recording of and transactions, business transactions in our books of accounts in a manner which are related to our business, so that we can record them and make a books of accounts. It's just like we can reconcile them at the end of the year. It is just simply that.
सही बोला? मैं सुना के, because we are running short of time. Accounting is the process of identification, measurement, recording, classifying, summarizing of financial transaction and event, interpret, analyze result thereof, and communicate to its user. I'm a chartered accountant, chartered. So again, accounting definition मुझे नहीं आती ना, तो मैं chartered accountant नहीं हूँ.
Yeah, so that's very profound. Sometimes we prepare a lot, but we forget the fundamentals. So make sure that you brush them. Accounting is the art or the process of recording. That's journal, classifying, ledger, and summarizing the financial transaction. That's trial balance. And that is what gives you P&L, cash flow, balance sheet. Your final tip.
One more thing. One suggestion I just want to give everyone. See, इसको दोहे से बताऊंगा. गुरु गोविंद दो खड़े काकू लागू पाए, बलिहारी गुरु आपने गोविंद दियो मिलाए. तो जो आपके लाइफ के मेंटोर है ना, आपको ना उनसे इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है. जैसे मेरे मेंटर हैं सी राज चावला जी. आज मैं वही टाई पहन के आया हूं जो इन्होंने मुझे 2011 में दी थी.
अच्छा, वाह.
और मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस अलग ही है. दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम व्हेन आई एम एड्रेसिंग दिस, मतलब लार्ज ऑडियंस, दिस काइंड ऑफ. तो मुझे अपना मोटिवेशन चाहिए था. तो जब आप इंटरव्यू में जाओगे ना, मेरी हालत भी आपके जैसी है अभी इंटरव्यू वाली. तो अपना जो मोटिवेशन वाला आपको जो चीज़ सबसे ज़्यादा देती है ना, फिजिकल, वो आप प्लीज हैंकी होगा या कुछ भी आपको जो आपके गुरु ने आपको दिया होगा, तो वो जरूर लेके जाना.
जी बिल्कुल. अंत में आते हैं ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज पे. हमने जाना मानव संसाधन से जुड़े व्यक्ति निर्दयी नहीं, हृदय वाले होते हैं. चलते चलते some tips.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you my secret, okay, which has worked. Two things. One, of course, is be prepared. If you're prepared, half the battle is won. Second is, before the night of the interview, on the night of the interview, you know, take out 1.5 to 2 hours, just be with yourself. Understand your storyline. Prepare your storyline. What kind of a person you are? What is it that you want to do? What have you done? What are the major incidents of your life? What are the values? What are the cultural aspects that you are able to relate to? What kind of a person you are? And build that story. Go with a story which is coherent and consistent. So if you ask me, what am I? I'm ready with my story. This is how Chanchal is. This is, yeah? So be ready with your story. How this is going to help you. During the interview, you will be consistent in your answers. No matter what they will ask you, in what sequence, you will always be coherent, consistent, and because your story is the same, right? There's a story running in your mind. So I just let out my secret.
Okay, so as we conclude, I'd like to say thank you to all my panelists. Thank you very much, CA Jatin Tagra. Thank you, Chanchal Singh ji. Thank you, Dr. Yogesh Mishra. It's been wonderful chatting with you. I found this very encouraging, very enriching, and I told you time flies, 40 minutes flies like 40 seconds. We wish you all the best and may you enjoy the experience of life and the process of interview. Thank you very much.